Welcome to the Deuce Cast Extra. We are back for another fun-filled week of the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 3, and of course, a little bit later on this evening, why 1883, as some people like to call it. I just call it 1883, but that'll be later on, of course. That's, episode 4. We're here. We're going to talk about Moon Knight first, though. I don't know if everybody had a chance to watch that trailer. Earl, I sent it to you. I hope you had a chance to watch it.
I watched it. Oh, yes.
Okay, good. So we're definitely going to talk about that. Now, I want to give a shout out before we get into that to Brian. This is my buddy and my wife's uncle. Hooked me up with some Imperial credits.
Nice.
It's hard to see in the camera, really, but
Best car.
No, it's not best car.
No, I know.
It's not best car, but yeah, I appreciate that, Brian.
Not a Camtono of best car.
No, it's not a Camtono of best car, but it is awesome. It actually has some weight to it. It's not like a piece of plastic. It's a piece of cheap metal, I'm sure, but it's still awesome. It looks great, and I really appreciate it, Brian. So Moon Knight is very interesting to me. First of all, directed by the guys that did Synchronicity, I think is how you say that, the name of that movie.
Synchronicity?
No, it was
Isn't that the Michael Keaton movie?
Synchronic, yeah. So it's the same guys that did that movie, and
They're indie
indie guys. That was the one with Anthony Mackie in it that got some indie buzz last year for sci-fi stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they're here doing. I think they're directing all 6 episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, rumor is that Clooney is directing one of the episodes.
Really?
George Clooney?
Yes.
Whoa!
Really?
Yeah.
Breaking.
Well, we'll just
Wait,
wait.
hang
for
on.
that
Hang on. Wait. Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
That's not my scoop.
Say that one more time.
That is not my scoop. But I am very hooked into that kind of scene, and yeah, Clooney's been rumored to have directed one,
Interesting. I like that.
I think because he's friends with Oscar Isaac.
Yeah. Roth, no, it was not a Netflix movie, but they maybe distributed it. I don't know. You could watch it theatrically in some cities, but yeah, exactly. See, Roth, nice scoop. So let's talk about Moon Knight. Full disclosure, I don't know anything about the character. It's I know nothing about it. I'm sure Dr. Earl and Ryfin know a little bit more about it than I do. It's a character that's been around for quite some time, right? Like the 80s or before that?
It's been around since the 70s.
70s. Okay.
Introduced in Werewolf by Night number 32 and number 33. Then was given a Marvel Spotlight 28 and 29.
That's right.
Then got a little bit of a Hulk magazine run, and then got its own series written by Doug Mensch and drawn by Bill Sienkiewicz. Has a little bit of comic history.
Yeah.
I don't know if Earl wants to speak to it.
He's just, I did a little research in it last night after the trailer. Like, he's had so many different writers and different iterations throughout the years that it'll be interesting to see which way they go.
Well, the thing I read is that they're pulling from the more recent, like the Lemire and Smallwood run, I guess, is the one that I heard that they're Moon Knight historian.
You had a big omnibus last week, right?
Yes, I did. It is right next to me. This is the Moon Knight omnibus.
That's awesome.
Volume 1. Volume 2 comes out in May. Collects a lot of issues.
Now, what year is that? Is that
this?
Lot of
the 70s? Is that the 70s run? Or
this collects from Werewolf by Night 32 to 33 all the way to Moon Knight 20. So from 75 to 82. And I also picked up some Fist of Khonshu comics the other day. In fact, this one is now selling for about $100 on Amazon now, or eBay now.
That's awesome.
Because I picked this up for $3. This is now selling for about $100 because the character of Ethan Hawke's the name they gave him is some obscure character that appears in this issue. So of course we've got to drive those prices up.
So the trailer itself, I was down with it. I was definitely not expecting Oscar Isaac to have a British accent.
No.
Now, I understand the multiple personalities, and there's going to be a big part of it where he's not going to have the British accent.
Yeah, I don't think Mark has a British accent.
Yeah, so because he's a different guy, like, and we hear somebody call him on the
Mark
phone
Spector.
and call him Mark's. Yeah, call him Mark, and he's like, "Why are you calling me Mark?" And it's very, very frantic trailer, I would say. Just all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
I heard one of the ways they pitched it was that it was kind of Memento-esque.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which I can kind of see from the trailer, as he doesn't remember kind of some of his life clearly.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he didn't know he was Mark.
He's like, it's the Bourne Moon Knight. Bourne series.
Yeah. I don't want to get too into a history lesson, but we are introduced to Stephen Grant in this trailer. That is one of his identities.
One of his personalities, yeah.
Another one is Jake Lockley. Stephen Grant in the comics is the millionaire persona. He's kind of the Bruce Wayne. I know people won't like me saying that, but he's kind of the Bruce Wayne that funds all of Moon Knight stuff. And Jake Lockley is kind of the guy on the ground. He's the cabbie who goes and gets information for Moon Knight, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But it seems like Stephen Grant's almost been made the guy on the ground in this show. He's working.
That's what I was noticing. Yeah.
The log line or whatever, they released a description for the show. It says that the series follows Stephen Grant, a mild-mannered gift shop employee who becomes plagued with blackouts and memories of another life. Stephen discovers he has a dissociative identity disorder and shares a body with mercenary Mark Spector. As Stephen Mark's enemies converge upon them, they must navigate their complex identities while thrust into a deadly mystery among the powerful gods of Egypt.
Man, that's a long log line. It's a really long log line.
Sorry, description, whatever.
But still, I mean, that's a lot of information in that description. I thought it looked great. I mean, stylistically, I was very into it. You know, obviously Oscar Isaac, I'm one of my favorites, and so I thought it looked good.
Sorry, Jacob scooped.
Oh no. We're going to talk about it later. But actually, Jacob,
kick him out of the audience. Just block him.
Nick actually scooped you with that. By the way, Jacob. No,
backstage. Yeah,
backstage. We got the news before you did, Jacob. So one of the things that I did not notice initially when I watched the trailer was the weird Egyptian god in the right hand side that looked like a pterodactyl.
Khonshu, right?
Khonshu.
And that's the one that gives him his powers, correct?
Yes.
Am I right on that?
I'm sure. Okay. That has not been established in any of the comics I've read so far. It is pretty clear from this early stuff that I'm reading that this wasn't supposed to be a dissociative identity disorder thing yet. It was kind of just supposed to be alter egos. And that is kind of, and it seems like Minch actually took it there eventually, but it's now become this whole, he's got a lot of problems kind of thing. So
yeah. Earl, I mean, did you like the trailer, Earl?
I did. I thought it was very intriguing. Now, when I watched it for the first time, I was like, I don't know anything about Moon Knight at all.
Yeah.
And so, the British accent surprised me. I did notice that it seemed to be that he had. I picked up on the name change. And I thought, okay, so there's going to be something where he's got like another life that he doesn't remember. Maybe it's one of these amnesia situations. I've been hit on the head, and all they got to do is hit him on the head with a coconut and he'll no. But then when like I saw some of the Egyptian stuff, I thought, oh, okay, that's right. There is some Egyptian connection. Like something came up from my memory.
Yeah.
So, but it looked great. I mean, Oscar Isaac's going to knock this out of the park.
As he does everything. I mean, I haven't seen him bad in anything really.
Or he'll be Apocalypse, and it'll just.
Well, okay, you're right. You're right.
Right.
You're right. Okay, yeah, touche. I forgot he did that. That was
another Egyptian character.
Exactly.
If his skin goes blue, we're in trouble, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They certainly did not shy away from showing a little bit of, I don't know, intense action scenes. Along the lines of like Falcon and Winter Soldier, where you had, U.S. Agent beating the crap out of somebody with the shield. I mean, it's that level. I don't know if it'll go above that level. to the Netflix realm of Marvel violence. I don't
pretty
think
intense in the comics.
You could see on the poster his knuckles
Blood.
are bloody.
Yeah,
and also his get ready for this, his moon dart.
The moon dart.
Whatever they want to call it. It's been also called crescent dart so far in the comics that I've read.
I like crescent dart a little bit better.
The ends. It had blood on the ends of it.
Yeah.
So
he's pretty intense.
Seems like it's not going to be as gory as the Netflix shows. Obviously, it's Disney Plus.
Sure.
But it seems like it will be very intense and dark.
Yeah. Nick, any thoughts on the trailer? You dug it?
I'm intrigued. I don't know anything about it. Like Earl said, like I'm actually, I admire Roth. I do that every week. I admire Ryfin for reading up and having the T-shirt and being, fully.
Oh, I just noticed the T-shirt. I just noticed the T-shirt.
Fully on brand.
Wow.
It's impressive.
Because I don't do this with a lot of things. Like I guess I kind of did with What If, but I still had familiarity with those characters and that kind of thing. Like I certainly don't do it with Star Wars. Like I'm really excited to come into this 100% having no idea what any of this is and just watch it and not have an expectation. I'm really excited about that.
Thanks for spoiling it, Ryfin.
Let me give a disclaimer. I absolutely think you should, because just like Earl said, there are so many different takes on this character. There's so many different runs you could read. It is probably not worth it if you want to know what is going on in the series. So just go in with a fresh mind, and I will be the one.
I'm excited about that.
I'll be the one who reads the comics.
You can be the man in the chair, the expert.
Yeah, exactly.
So awesome. It's going to be great. I'm excited for it. I'm really looking forward to it. We're getting it March 30th. 2 episodes March 30th.
That's
supposedly that's the rumor, and then that way it frees up May the 4th for some Star Wars related thing that we are going to talk about right now. Nick is a subscriber to Star Wars Insider, and there was a bit of news in Star Wars Insider. Hang on, let me get the banner going. All right, there you go.
The scoop banner going.
there you go.
Like I should have my hat with the pencil.
There's the professional, the scoop banner.
Well, and one editorial correction: I am not a subscriber to Star Wars Insider magazine, but
you just bought it.
I saw something posted on Twitter, and it looked like they cropped it in a way that I couldn't tell what magazine it was from, but I guessed that it might be Insider. So I did text my friend Jerry, who's one of the hosts of the Bomb Bag Cast, and Jerry subscribes to Insider, and he sent me a screenshot. And in the newest edition that came out, hit people's mailboxes today, on the right-hand column, coming soon, up at the top, it says Kenobi. It has the listing of the cast, and that's all it has. But below that, in a little block that says coming soon, it says Bad Batch Season 2, D. Bradley Baker, and Aang. What's her
Michelle.
name? Michelle Aang.
Yeah.
And then it says Disney Plus Spring 2022. So we have Bad Batch Season 2 inbound sooner rather than later, and that looks like that will be the next thing we get after.
Oh, that is really fast.
So that has to be that is really fast. That has to be what's gonna drop around May 4th. Now they could have like a special Star Wars Day thing May 4th, and then the next week start Bad Batch. So that we'll be covering it. So that'll be interesting. I think a lot of crazy things are going to happen in that season. So I am very much looking forward to it.
And I think one of the things that's interesting about that, and if you're right, I think there's a very strong possibility. Well, at that point, if they continue to push out a Kenobi trailer and we don't get anything yet, obviously they're leaving the door open that if Celebration happens, that might be where the Kenobi trailer shows up. Is it Celebration in late May?
That's May, right? Late May.
Yeah.
Okay.
Third week of May, latter part of May. So it'd be after May the 4th. But that's right, Omega.
Omega.
But it pushes the timeline out. So if we don't get Bad Batch till maybe around May the 4th, if the first 1 or 2 episodes drop on May the 4th, we know Andor is done. We know Kenobi is done. We know they're shooting Mando season 3. In fact, Apollo Creed said on his birthday, that they were busy shooting and doing whatever. Where initially we kind of got the impression we were getting all of those things in 2022. If we don't get Bad Batch till May, if we don't get Kenobi till closer to the fall, then that pushes maybe Andor to the beginning of the year,
which would be crazy.
Mando gets pushed, and we still know we have Ahsoka coming after that. Like there's a lot there. it'll be interesting to see,
Yeah.
do we still get it all this year like we initially thought?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I will say on account of Star Wars and Marvel, they both are very very confident about a lot of things happening in one year, and usually one or two things get pushed from that pile. So
yeah, it'd be weird for Andor to get pushed when it's shot and in the can.
I know.
I mean, it'd be very strange for it to get pushed. I was thinking like, okay, there's a couple of weeks here once Book of Boba ends.
There's 6 weeks in between Book of Boba and
why not?
Night.
What if they drop Kenobi? What if like the episode Book of Boba Fett ends after the credits? There's a Kenobi tease, and then next week is Kenobi. That would be epic.
The best kept secret ever.
That would be epic.
Be a little. You need to advertise for it though. That's the problem.
Do you? Do you? Though?
I think we could get a trailer. I think like we got the Book of Boba Fett tease at the end of Mando 2.
Yeah,
I could see them. I mean, we're all conditioned at this point to wait and watch after the credits. The last episode of Book of Boba Fett, they don't have to drop something necessarily linearly connected. They could just drop a trailer, or as a way to keep people on the line. Or the Bad Batch. I mean, the Bad Batch trailer could be it, because then they could say, "Hey, this is coming." Because I don't think. I mean, we've seen it before, and I forget. Maybe it was Falcon and Winter Soldier. Something overlapped for a minute where we got.
Bad
one
Batch
on Wednesday,
Loki.
one on Friday.
Bad Batch and
both
Loki
to Wednesday.
Yeah.
At some point, they've got so much stuff in the pipeline, they're going to have to release multiple things. So maybe they start with Bad Batch and animation, because on some level, it's a half a step below a live action produced show. So they say, "Hey, here's these two things," and then we get conditioned to get a couple of things a week.
And then you've got Bad Batch, which will likely be 16 episodes, probably. Like season 1. You got What If season 2, which will be 10 episodes. Feige said She-Hulk was going to be 10 back in 2021. So you got a lot of weeks. You got to potentially overlap stuff.
Whereas Obi-Wan is only like 4 episodes, right? I mean, 4 or 5. It's not that many. I thought it had been said. I thought it had. And,
I think you're right. Hang on.
That's why I'm like February before March 30th. I mean, but you're right. They need to advertise it a little bit. I mean, Earl.
6.
Yes, he does. Look at that. Look at this. First time Earl has ever had a professional mic.
I hope it's working.
It is. It's working. It's working.
Coming to you live from the Deucecast Studios.
Yeah, exactly. It is working.
As of November 2021, Kenobi is supposed to be 6 episodes.
Oh wow, okay, that's much more than.
And that has fluctuated. You're right. At one point it was 4. At one point
I thought they said that. Yeah,
and I think 6 ended up kind of becoming the middle that we feel like they settled on.
Yep. All right. Well, we're 20 minutes in, and we haven't even started talking about Book of Boba Fett yet. So let us jump into The Streets of Mos Espa, directed by Robert Rodriguez, and 39 minutes long. So. The same length as the first episode, so they haven't gone anything less than 39 anymore.
Not unsurprising.
Not unsurprising. The episode was good. I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. There's some people that, for various reasons, that we'll probably get into a little bit. I don't really care about talking about it too much, but a little bit as to why some people aren't digging on it as much. But I really enjoyed it. Right off the bat, we get that Bomar Monk scene that we saw in the trailers originally. So we saw this little Bomar Monk crawling by. Pretty fun. I liked it. Yeah. It was a good little homage.
It sent me down a quick eBay rabbit hole for Power of the Force 2 Bomar Monk figures because they're out there.
I've got it over there somewhere.
Yeah,
I've got it on my shelf over there.
And
I should have had it with me.
There may be people listening who don't know what the Bobar Monk is.
I mean, I could go get it. It's that spider-looking creature with the brain goop.
That's right.
Like that he holds his brain of a monk. Is that what this? What's the backstory?
According to the lore, Jabba's palace used to be a monastery for the Bomar monks, and in order to achieve total enlightenment, they removed their brains and had them suspended inside of these arachnid robot bodies, so that and literally all they do is roam around Jabba's palace, achieving enlightenment and just simply being. And so, like, we do see them in Return of the Jedi, in the background scurrying across. I think when R2 and 3PO show up the first time. And it was just one of those, very, very many background characters that, took on a life of their own. And when the trailer for this all dropped, and that was one of the first things we see, all of us of a certain age that know who they are just lost our minds because there they are.
Yeah, and I don't know who else took a lot of notes, but I know Nick has some notes for us. So we get a lot of exposition at the beginning of the episode about Bib Fortuna's reign as Daimo. Nick, what do you have all that written down? I kind of do, but I wanted to make sure and get it right. Like who he split it all up.
That's right. He had the 3 groups. It was the Aqualish, it was the was it the Clatunians?
Yeah, Clatunians, Aqualish, and Trandoshans.
And the Trandoshans, that's right. And the Trandoshans make a lot of sense only for they have spent a lot of time focusing in the trailer that we see where he has the big dinner at some point and invites everybody to it.
That's got to be this episode.
The scene when he's walking through the street, I think in episode 2, every face they focused on was groups of Trandoshans. And
that's right.
Again, if you don't know a Trandoshan, that's who Bosk is, the big lizard-looking
lizard guy
hunter. And so there's a ton of focus on them as so the city was broken up into 3 regions, and basically what they said was Bib Fortuna had a very loose hold on all of that,
which isn't surprising.
Boba says to Fennec, they're waiting on me to make a move.
Yeah. I mean that was pretty interesting. I liked the idea of it. Like, you got the Trandoshans having the city center, you got the Aqualish having the workers district, and the Aqualish are the ones with the tentacles, right?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, exactly. And then the Clatunians and just the Clatunians, which is an homage, obviously, to the day the Earth stood still.
Yeah,
it's like Klaatu Barada Nikto.
Yeah, exactly. And they had the starport and the upper sprawl. So they got 2 areas, which was interesting.
But the Pikes are coming in. I mean,
the
Pikes have to unite them against the Pikes.
We will see what happens with that. But
Spoiler
one of my favorite, and Earl, you recognize this guy because we just saw him in the Tragedy of Macbeth. The guy that shows up, Stephen Root. I mean, come on. Who would have thought? Yeah, he was Lortha Peel. And it's funny because I was going to try and be funny and find a picture of him in Tragedy of Macbeth. You cannot find even like a behind the scenes shot of his character in Tragedy of Macbeth, but he was the crazy guy. I mean,
he had a very short.
It was, but it was very Stephen. It was a very Stephen Root type of role, just as this one was. Really, I mean, this
Stephen
was good.
Root, as well as the other cameo that we're going to get later in this episode. I love Stephen Root, and I forget that I love Stephen Root until every single time he shows up, literally anywhere. And of course, it started with Office Space. Like that was the first time I saw him in '99 when Office Space came out, or whenever it was. But then he's the judge in a bunch of episodes of Justified. He's in West Wing. He's in
dude's in everything.
Barry Roth, Barry. He's so great. And so I didn't know. I said this, I think, Friday night on Streaming Star Wars. I didn't know that I wanted an emotionally developed Boba Fett. I also didn't know that I wanted Stephen Root in a Star Wars, but here we are, and I'm loving
I know. I mean, I think the other cameo, the other cameo felt, and we'll get to the other cameo, but it felt more Star Wars. Like that particular actor, I could feel him in Star Wars. Stephen Root was like out of nowhere. And he very much reminded me of like the Major Domo in just the way his dialogue was. Like he was very like sort of free flow dialogue, sort of almost like improv kind of that
but I
feel
also think
to
he
it.
Did it just well enough that I'm not convinced that he wasn't just like this kind of patsy. Like I think he could show up as a betrayer. He could show up as somebody in another moment before this is over with, because he was just, fussy enough and whining when, Boba confronts the water steampunks and that whole deal, that like that could cheese him off enough that he betrays Boba somewhere else. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we're not done with him yet.
Yeah.
I think I would have rather seen Milton in in Book of Boba Fett.
Milton in Book of Boba Fett.
That's my water.
when he left and he took that money and instead of ending up on a beach, he ended up in Mos Eisley.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that obviously the thing that I go back to with him, News Radio. I loved News Radio, and that was before Office Space. That was like 93.
Oh, yeah, that was early 90s.
Yeah, 90. Yeah, and he was so good. And unfortunately, that was the show that was on when Phil Hartman, his wife, killed him. And so that was horrible tragedy that occurred, and they actually had to address it in the show. Obviously that is also where the currently infamous Joe Rogan got his start as well, was in News Radio.
That's true.
And which is really weird to think about, but that's where the guy got his start, kind of, as he was a stand-up comedian first, and then he cast in News Radio, and a ton of other people. There was one of the guys, Andy Dick was in there. Obviously the guy from what was that Canadian comedy troupe?
Dave Foley.
Dave Foley. Yeah, Kids in the Hall. So yeah. Anyways, I don't know why I'm talking about News Radio so much.
One more thing about that briefing scene, as Stephen Root shows up, and as we're talking about the city, I think we've gotten him in every episode, but I'm completely here for 8D8 being in every episode that we get.
He's great. He's really
because again, another little nod to Return of the Jedi. He's the droid that is branding the feet of the Gonk droid upside down in Return of the Jedi in Jabba's dungeon. And now at some point he's moved his way up to being like the butler droid or whatever.
And it's really interesting. And you never think about just droids in general, but I mean, Star Wars is very good about droids having personalities, right? And he is very used to the Jabba the Hutt and Bib Fortuna reign as Daimo. He's not used to Boba being kind of like respectful of him and not tell it, so he's 8D8's trying to like tread lightly when he's saying things, and Boba's like, you don't have to be that way with me.
Say your piece. Let's go.
Yeah. Just
I just love having that, because again, that's another, even for action figures as a kid.
Oh, is that right? Is he the one making the Ronto wraps? I guess I don't know if it's 8D8 making Ronto wraps, but it's that type of droid.
That style droid, right?
Yeah, it's that.
Because
it's certainly
if you remember. In the first episode of Book of Boba Fett's, in the credit, that droid was named something else. It was IMDb that got it wrong, which makes perfect sense.
Which
IMDb had him listed as like UNKR- something.
Yeah.
And I remember watching that first episode with the captions on, and the first time he spoke, it said 8D8.
Wait, it said UNKR, like Unkar Plut? Like
it wasn't Plut, but it was some combination of those letters.
That's funny.
On IMDb initially. In fact, I need to look and see if it's still there. But yeah, I'm just glad to have more 8D8.
I don't know if it's the exact same droid, but I mean, it's the exact same type of droid making the Ronto wraps.
Yeah, it is certainly the same type of choice. So Ryfin, we get to the street gang. That's basically the next thing that we see is Boba, Fennec, and of course his Gamorreans. Or it might have, I think they were there in that scene, heading towards the street gang. What were your initial thoughts on the street gang, Ryfin? I just want to, we can go. No, we're going to go around. Everybody can make a piece. No.
Oh, yay.
Well, first impressions can change, though. I mean. Okay, so apparently they didn't with you, but.
How do I put this into words? I don't care about zippers. I don't care about zippers.
Yeah, the zippers.
That was dumb.
Look, I'm totally fine with someone believing in that stuff. That's totally whatever. That's cool. Like, if that's your thing. But I don't care about that. I just didn't care for the street gang. I didn't. They just, I don't know. They just didn't do anything for me.
So my very first impression, I kind of felt the same way at first. I've watched it 3 times, and I think they serve an important purpose in the series because Jabba needed more people. Like he needed Boba needed more people, in his gang. And that's 7.
He needed them for that fight.
And he's going to need them later too, because later on he says we're going to be ready for war. I mean, I felt like they were very capable, and even Boba says so when he said, "Look, you guys are kind of capable. Why don't you come work for me?" That's 7 bodies right there in and of itself. That's at least 7 bodies that you can distract and help in a fight. I mean, and they were good fighters. They took on Chrysanthemum. I mean, and had no fear doing so.
Except they also, if they were supposed to be on guard, also let Chrysanthemum in the building. So
this is true.
We've got that question.
And also so did the Gamorrean guards and
Finnick and the Gamorreans and
and that droid that he says go on watch.
Yeah,
made
it to the inner
R2
unit.
Right.
The R4 that was serving drinks that he said go on patrol or whatever.
There's not a lot of loyalty here yet.
So Earl, as a film historian, I'm going to throw this at you. Yeah. As a film historian, what do you think that Rodriguez and Favreau are going for here? Just as far as the color palette, the action sequence that they were involved in a little bit later. What do you think that they're going for? Yeah.
So we know that George Lucas loved hot rods, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And when we go back and we see American Graffiti, we see the sort of the car culture.
Mm-hmm.
We know that Robert Rodriguez loves color. I mean, look at Spy Kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, totally. No,
so we see this sort of blending of sort of like Rebel Without a Cause, these sort of wayward street youth. Now, let me say this: the one guy looked too much like Cyborg. He had the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked way too much like Cyborg from
almost like Doom Patrol
Cyborg.
So yeah, he did. He looked similar. Yeah.
Maybe another one of the characters to be, so it's not, just the same. Here's another African American guy with the exact same look. He just looked too much like him. I thought, is that the guy from Doom Patrol? Is there some kind of
same actor?
That was an interesting concept, though, that these folks had technologically enhanced themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. But not unknown, at least in the sense of the EU, especially. I mean, there was certainly a lot of that going on in the EU.
I thought I was really scared because they were like cyborgs, and I was like, oh no, they're going to bring in Valance because because my dad is a huge Marvel Comics Star Wars fan, and he really is not a big fan of how they've changed Valance in a certain way.
Right.
So I was like, oh no, I'm never going to hear the end of this. But thankfully it wasn't Valance, and it was the street gang, which I am, I don't know. I don't hate them. I just don't, I need to warm up to them, I guess. And I do know all of this. I've heard all week about mod culture and American Graffiti. And,
right.
I understand the historical context.
Yeah.
It just does. I don't know. It just still doesn't work for me yet.
Yeah. I mean, I've had to make up some headcanon about why they're on Mos Espa or on Tatooine in general. I mean, I just figure they're from the mid-rim and they're displaced because of the war. And they had money. They're displaced because of the war. They went as far away from the war as possible, which is Tatooine. They took their speeders with them. I mean, that's kind of like the headcanon I've made up. They're not native Tatooinians. I don't believe
Rob
that.
has a good point. They belong on Coruscant.
No, I like Brian's comment.
Well, and I was going to say,
Italian job.
They're like Mini Coopers.
Yeah.
They are. There was another thing that I saw earlier this week, and it hit me because I agree with you. The mod culture thing. There's the picture of an actual mod culture, Vespa in the '60s that has literally 50 mirrors on it. That was actually a thing. It was a status thing. It was a deal.
Oh yeah.
Which is a joke we made about the blue one that the leader gal Drash drove. But I saw something, and it may have been over the weekend, that really hit me that I really liked. And you're talking about, era of the war, holdovers in the wrong place. Somebody compared it to the cars in Cuba. And the old 50s cars that are still bright blue and red and yellow.
Yeah.
And because you can't get parts, and because of the embargo and because of all that stuff, these people still have tremendous pride in those vehicles, and they keep them up and they run. And so you go to Cuba now and you're still seeing cars from the 50s and 60s are in pristine, beautiful running condition. And I thought that was such a great kind of one-to-one comparison to say, if Tatooine was the outpost pseudo Cuba kind of world where, again, these kids may be displaced. We don't know how they got there, who their parents were, what brought them to that spot. but the only thing they have to have pride in are these speeders, which all, as I said, look like KitchenAid stand mixers, or Pee Wee Herman's bike from Pee Wee's Big Adventure. That was the other one that
right.
Well, but either way,
I
love
guess
the idea that something out of place could fit in that way, because obviously they're not from Tatooine.
Yes,
but we also see with that Star Cruiser that shows up, people come in there from other places all the time.
Yeah, and my thing with the whole Star Cruiser thing, and why I think that these kids probably did come from wealth, but they may have spent everything that they had to get off of whatever war-torn planet that they were on a galactic Star Cruiser, and they've got nothing left, which is why they're having to steal,
they
the water.
Nothing left, but they're clearly, they're clearly putting a lot of their money that they do have into taking care of these bikes.
Yes,
maybe,
which means they do have some money.
Yeah,
there was an interesting part, and somebody else made this comment too, so I'm not going to claim it. But that confrontation in the alley about the water, and it didn't. They said they weren't working. They didn't necessarily say they couldn't afford it. It was more that they were outraged at the ridiculous nature of how high the price was.
Right, and they said that there were no jobs available.
Right,
they actually made that. Yeah, they made that comment as well.
It was an in between, and you're right, Roth, and damn it, every time, Ryfin. Can we change your name to something that doesn't start with an R?
It says Ryfin right there. No, I can make it bigger.
Look at the screen. I'm trying to look at the camera. Leave me alone.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
No. But you're right. And so it's interesting. Now I'm just looking at the ceiling, so I don't look at anybody. It is a really interesting point about where's the priority, what are they spending their money on, and they said there's not jobs available, and so of course for our purposes, the story development, Boba says, "Well, I'll give you a job."
Exactly. Yeah. And it accomplishes something that he very much needs, which is more people
in his corner. Yeah.
In his corner.
It's trying to drive the story forward. Although I don't know. Look, I get people that come to me, obviously, that are not big Star Wars fans, and then they come to me and tell me that this was the worst episode to them, and I
and I think a lot of people are feeling that way.
I kind of felt similar, and that it's not. I don't think it's a bad episode. They thought it was a bad episode, but they're not Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
I listened to Rhett yesterday over lunch.
Oh God.
I'm trying to get him to come into the chat. We'll just see what he has to say.
Oh, dude, he would blow it up. Yeah.
I agree that they're disaffected youths. I could warm up to them as time goes on.
And Brian says it here. He says, "Is this a comment on our culture? Are these space millennials? Are these space zoomers? Like, what are we talking about? Because Star Wars is nothing if not, over the course of its long history, social commentary and pulling out some moments. I think that we actually see some of that with the Tusken story that we've gotten in the last couple of weeks and coming up through this week. That's also, there's commentary there. But yeah, it was a really interesting, and as a Star Wars fan, like you said, Ryfin, that's one. I'm going to keep a list now. It wasn't my favorite part of the episode, but I'm a Star Wars fan, so it also didn't take me out of the episode. It didn't tell me,
I'm the same way.
There's a lot that's going to have to happen before I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm out. Like, that's not where I am with all this.
Totally. So really from there, we jump into another flashback where we see young Boba again. And apparently there is a double, and I didn't realize this. There is a double that's playing young Boba. It's not.
Yes,
they're not just using old Daniel Logan footage.
They've got a double. Dots on his face because
right. Yeah. They're doing a good job of making it look like it's young Boba. So it's
the Tarkin Leia Luke scenario at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're showing that again, and then we jump into questionable looking bantha with him and riding the bantha. Questionable looking.
I was way more on the
okay.
than I was other things. Yeah,
it looked good, I guess.
I liked it because it looked like it was old school techniques, and I was like, yeah, this is cool to me.
It did look like it was old school techniques.
Oh, it was definitely looking old school.
So, but yeah, so
but him on the Bantha was way better than the speeder chase for the technical aspects of it.
That's fair.
The technical aspects.
I'm
not saying the whole big arc of it, but
I want to say this. I think Rodriguez is better shooting direction on location than he is in the volume.
Correct.
Which is interesting. Well, that's interesting though, because all of his Spy Kids movies are all CG, total, like green screen CG everything,
and they're kind of a mess.
I've never watched any of them, but to compare this episode to the tragedy in Mando season 2, which was on location, we know that
that was great.
Went to Northern California and the rocks and the mountains and the desert and that whole thing, all that action. There's a distinct difference between that and what this is, and I think Ryfin, that's an excellent point. That on location, because, and Pete said it last Friday on Streaming Star Wars, which I really, clicked with. I like Robert Rodriguez. I like what he does, but I don't know if his directing style is necessarily for me. It's a very comic booky, almost soap opera. I said to him, I think in a text, it's a little bit soap opera-y. But with this scene, and you're talking about the flashback, I did like the Bantha part. That didn't freak me out or bother me that much. There's a very key specific part, and this is kind of our third level cameo for the episode, where he's passing by all the stormtrooper helmets on the pikes, which is a decided scene from Mando season 1 in that first trailer.
That's right.
But we also see Space Amy Sedaris stomping by in the background.
Right. Heli Motto
following her.
Yeah.
And if you think about the time frame, that episode is the Toro Calican episode.
Yeah.
This is where Fennec gets shot, and we see Boba's feet at the end. So, I think that's exactly what they're showing us is maybe this next episode tomorrow, the flashback piece we get is him finding Fennec connected to whatever's going on. But they set up that triangulation of that scene perfectly to kind of mirror and say, this is when that is, which I thought was really neat.
And we're going to get the reveal. The female Tuscan's going to take her helmet off, and it's going to be Kira. No, I'm just kidding.
It's going to be Bosk under there. I've already decided.
Maybe.
It's going to be Omega. Yeah.
Omega. Hey, that's a good theory. No. But yeah, so the Pike meeting was cool. Again, I'm more like the Pikes are much more menacing when they're wearing their helmets.
Right. They're not that scary.
I don't like the fish guy.
They just look kind of fishy, like a
they just look
very, very rubbery, fishy.
Yeah, exactly. But it was an interesting conversation because, again, a bit of information that the Pikes were very willing to give was it was the Kenton Striders that that did all the dirty work or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Pikes want to get them out of the way, obviously.
Pikes want them out. Yeah, and the Nikto, they want to get it. And it's funny that Nikto, at least in this, are being portrayed as more thuggish than the Klatooinians. The Klatooinians are like, hey, we've got part of the district, whereas the Nikto are sort of like your thug version of they're just the muscle basically. But so not the Kanji Club like everybody thought that they were going to be. They're Kenton.
Kenton Striders. And that little JL symbol that was gets spray painted on the building and on the speeder bike and the jacket and all that. That is Huttese for a K, so that does connect to the whole Kentan Strider gang.
Yeah. Thing. Oh yeah. It works out, which is good. I mean, I like that. So immediately we see him go back to the Tusken camp, and things have not gone well. Things have not gone well. They are completely wiped out. Although we don't see the female. The female is not there.
We see the chief, correct? But we will see her die. I promise you.
Oh, okay. You don't think she's going to live? Okay.
No.
That's right. Last week, your prediction that she was going to die at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
In a very sad death. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and Matt has a good point. I mean, the Pikes are very much like the Nemoidians. Yeah. I mean, they seem that way. Very scheming, like doing what the best thing they can to try and move them forward, but it's kind of like in a slimy, schemy way, just like the Nemoidians.
with the advent of the Pikes, and especially at the end of that episode, coming down the ramp of the cruiser, Boba saying, they're going to war, we'll be ready, that whole thing. I decided one of my prep things this last week was I was going to go back to Clone Wars and watch as much of the Pike arcs of Clone Wars that I could, just to become more familiar, because really, as a not hardcore Clone Wars person, for me, for the most part, the Pikes were the part in Solo when they go to Kessel and, that whole deal. And it just cemented what we're saying right now is like the Pikes aren't that scary. Right. Scarier in that first part of the Pike arc of Clone Wars was that Black Sun was there. Mm-hmm. And that's the episode where Maul shows up and throws the saber and like decapitates everybody. And then that one guy's like, okay, cool, we're on your team now. Like, okay. So Roth disagrees with me, and that's fine.
No, he says they were very intimidating.
Yeah,
I think
I'm saying they weren't intimidating. They were more intimidating in Clone Wars than now.
Oh,
I was saying Black Sun was more intimidating than the Pikes.
Yeah, I mean, Black Sun, I think, is always more intimidating than anyone. I mean, just because they've got that.
You have Shizor from
Shizor,
yeah.
I mean, it's that whole group from Shadow of Empire. That whole group is very interating.
Let's bring in the pheromones.
And I think that exactly the pheromones. I think we're gonna get some Prince Xizor live action at some point. I don't know if it's gonna be this series, but I think Xizor. I mean, all of them. They're using these shows as that 1313 concept, the underworld concept that they have always wanted to do, and I think it's going to be great. So Boba gets, unfortunately, we see all the kids dead, the tribal leaders dead. He's having to burn them all. Leader. The main leader's dead. Like everyone's dead. And he gets unceremoniously ripped out of his Bacta pod, which he calls a tank at some point in this episode. But Chrysanthemum, dude, that is one bad Wookiee. I mean, he is hardcore. I mean,
stabbed, gaffy stick sticking out of his back.
Yes,
all of it, and he just keeps going.
Dude, I mean, that was an awesome scene.
That was the best scene, best Star Wars scene I've seen in a while. I don't know what those things are called. I'm going to call them vibro knuckles. They were awesome. I don't know if anybody else has called them that, but vibro knuckles is what I'm going with because they look awesome.
That's trademark now.
Nah, I think they're probably
nope.
Something
make
else,
vibro knuckles canon. I'm gonna call Pablo when we get done.
Vibro knuckles it just sounded cool to me, and they had like the energy thing, and he just beat the crap out of Boba. Was taking a beating. When you watch the when you watch it. When you watch it with closed captioning, it says bones crack when he is squeezing him during that one scene where you can hear bones cracking, but you're like, oh, he can't really be breaking his back because because then we're gonna have a long montage like we did in one of the Batman films of Christian Bale coming back from having a broken back. I don't want a long montage of Boba having to do that. But it actually said bones cracking. So that's pretty brutal. But yeah, I mean, he took a beating.
Crawl out of the pit.
Yeah, he's gonna crawl out of the pit just like Christian Bale did.
Rise.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or whatever they said. I don't know.
Yeah, they were saying
he merely adopted the Bacta.
Mm-hmm.
But look, again, Boba would have been up a creek if he had not hired those 7 street gang people. I mean, he would, dude. I'm telling you,
the Power Rangers went into action.
Mikey, you can write around that.
No, no, because Chrysanthemum could have destroyed. Like, no, he had to have those 7 bodies there.
I wanted a couple of more. Like, I wanted Chrysanthemum to rip some arms off.
Yeah,
just the droid.
Especially if they're cyborgs. Come on,
I can't go that far. No, maybe a cyborg arm.
You can.
Yeah, cyborg.
But we are still waiting for our first real Wookiee rip your arms out of their sockets.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen is they're going to show him ripping probably a Pike's arm off because Chrysanthemum is going to come help Boba at this point. I mean,
it doesn't get talked about a lot because canon and legends and all those things kind of shift and move a little bit. But there is a thing called a Wookiee life debt. And I think that the possibility that while they don't call it that, kind of like the whole Boba's Starship controversy, Like nothing's been changed. We're just not set. Like, I think the kindness that Boba shows BK when he sends him on his way, no hard feelings, it's only business. I think you're right. I think that comes back later. And I also think that the BK thing is a setup for the Kenobi series. I think he shows up in that because famously in the comics, the scar comes from Obi-Wan. Whether we see that or not, this is a character that enough people are invested in and have lost their mind over that they're going to get some more mileage out of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, you just don't bring Chrysanthemum in and have him just in a couple episodes of one series. They'll use that character some more until whenever he's supposed to meet his untimely death. But it was good getting to see the twins again. I think, in my opinion, they look great. There was people calling it out that it didn't look great. I think they look fantastic. No, they look especially in this episode. They looked really, because we even had a more close-up of them. I think they look great.
That's good. That's good computer work. It's way better than, obviously it's better than special edition stupid Jabba and Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
And maybe better than prequels.
Sorry, you mean the one where Han Solo steps over his tail and is like juddery over
that's the one. R.I.P. Declan McManus, but
yes, exactly. The Hutt twins, I don't trust them at all, but
yes, go on.
I don't trust them at all. They give this gift of a Rancor. Yes. I don't like that. I think this Rancor. I do not trust
Danny Trejo right now.
Yeah,
at all.
I don't.
In the
we'll see.
I think he is lying to Boba Fett actively about this Rancor. Now, I think probably the resolution will be that he tries to get the Rancor to turn on Boba, and then we find that Boba is actually able to ride it, and blah blah blah. I'm sure it'll be.
He imprinted Boba, but I mean,
did he? Maybe on accident, but I don't think he was really trying to help Boba.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I like a turn. I like a Danny Trejo turn. I mean,
you got Earl calling me Roth.
Oh geez, what is going on, guys? This is great.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't have nice things for sure. Yeah, I mean, I can see that potentially happening.
I'm throwing that out. That's my theory.
All right, that's your gauntlet, man. Throw it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Machete is going to come with his knife. Machete.
I also was really hoping he was just playing Machete.
Yes,
because Rodriguez claims that his character in Spy Kids is the same, so why not? But
what is the same? It's the uncle. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. Exactly. So the Hutts basically are like, we're out of here. We don't want anything to do with this because we were told the wrong thing. This has been promised to another syndicate.
Which, very suspicious, right?
All of this, that whole conversation is very suspicious. So, what syndicate is he talking about the Pikes, or is he talking about Crimson Dawn?
Ooh.
No, okay. What syndicate?
He knows. Nick knows.
What do you think it is, Nick?
I don't.
Wait. Hang on. Do I need to do spoilers?
No.
Spoilers. Here we go. Spoilers.
No. This would be more if you had a predictions one, but we'll get to that later. That's right. It's prediction, speculation. One of the notes I made was who are the Hutts afraid of? Because traditionally to this point, the Hutts aren't afraid of anybody. So the fact that they show up and say, you know what, on second thought, we're out. It's bigger than the Pikes. It's bigger than whatever. I said it Friday night. I'll say it again, and we don't have to do predictions yet, but it ties into this line of conversation. We know at some point we're getting Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Ooh. Roth.
Who's big enough to be scary and also trying to figure out in the new remnants of the Empire, as Ross said, I think Thrawn has the ability to carry that weight, and for the Hutts to be able to say, there's something bigger here, you have no idea.
Whoa.
And it doesn't mean he's going to be in 3 of the last, 4 episodes.
Yeah.
It means it can be the big Thanos reveal towards the end that leads us to the Ahsoka series, which we know that's where this is headed, at least that part. So it's a bridge thing. I I love Emilia Clarke. I want to see Kira show up as a part of Crimson Dawn, as a part of this. I think it works and there's a place for it. But I don't think she's scary enough either for the Hutts, who have notoriously been not scared of anybody, to peace out. So I think that Thrawn is the most likely possibility to be this unknown wild card who's everybody scared of thing that tells them, you know what, we're just going to go back to Nal Hutta and chill out.
Yeah, they basically say they don't want a war, so they're out.
Yeah.
And here's where the gang comes in. I mean, what painting is he going to look at to take out all 7 of those guys? I mean,
it's like some sort of crazy Dali nonsense. What are we talking? Speaking of paintings, and we have
this is a good point too. Moff Gideon, maybe. I mean, timeline wise, that would work. He's still alive, right? I mean, but he's captured, so I don't know. Well, that's interesting. I guess he could have gotten that way, but he's captured.
If this is Boba has the armor.
Yeah.
So he's at it's after the end of season 2.
Yeah, it's after the end of season 2. So I mean,
but Gideon is scarier than Kira or the Pikes at this point. If you're asking, the rankings of different things, but he may not be available. So, Thrawn is my bet for who's the big somebody that the Hutts are scared enough of to run away.
And that makes sense. That totally makes sense.
Again, it connects to something else we know that's coming down the road.
But they could also be scared of Zizor too. I mean, if it's Black Sun.
Are they scared at all? And this is a big ruse to act like they're going away. And then, like I said, they're going to activate Danny Trejo. Machete's going to go through. Release the Rancor.
Yes.
Maybe. I mean,
I don't think the Hutts are that complicated. I think the Hutts are like, we're going to do it or not. Like, let's go.
Roth needs Emilia Clarke now. Is what he's saying.
She's in secret evasion. Just hold on.
We've got a little bit. We're almost at an hour. I want to talk about at least that chase scene. I mean, that kind of like the chase scenes. So watching it the third time, it actually did not play as slow. After I watched it the third time, it felt a little quicker. It does not feel slow to me. I don't know why everybody says it feels so slow. It really doesn't. Like, it worked. It worked this third time I saw it.
I think they were trying to keep the same speed as like the land speeders from the original trilogy.
No, I could see. Yeah,
I could see that.
I mean, like, they're not fast vehicles.
I thought you were talking about the pacing of the episode. I was like, what?
No. How fast they can go. Yeah.
I'm sorry, not that. Well, like Luke's land speeder and the that they're, they don't seem like super fast vehicles. In general.
Roth obviously didn't grow up in the 80s. There were some really slow TV chase scenes in the 80s, like the Fall Guy and
the 70s.
The Fall Guy was the 80s, but I mean, there were some really. Anyways, I don't know. It felt fine to me. I'll
say this, and this is to attribute to the thing that you've talked about the first couple of episodes, Mikey.
Yeah.
This is the first episode, and I think I even texted you as a joke, we need to make a t-shirt out of it. This was the first time in this chase scene that I felt like I saw the volume, because you've talked about that before in those earlier episodes, and feeling like we're starting to figure it out and like realize what the boundaries of it are. This was this felt more prequels era, super CGI, super,
I gotta tell you guys. Sorry, go on.
No, that was it.
I gotta tell you guys, watching it on iPad, I never noticed the volume. So
it must be our TVs then. I don't know. It must be our TV.
I think if you are watching it on because Dad, he watches it on his new 4K TV that he's got, and whenever he'll notice the volume, and especially in the first episode, he noticed it.
He sees the volume too.
Yeah, so I do think it is a little bit of the TVs you're watching, how nice it is. Yeah.
At least he didn't say iPod. At least he said iPad. At least it's not
it's
like
a 10.5-inch iPad.
Yeah, come on, Roth.
That's almost the size of my laptop.
I watch stuff on my phone all the time, so sorry.
Well,
Roth, it's 2022, Roth. Come on.
Phone.
Get with it.
I can't watch a movie on this. I just can't.
No, I can't. No,
YouTube
no.
video, maybe a show.
Yeah. YouTube video or shit.
But
yeah,
I can't
exactly.
do a movie on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Personally.
So they chase the mayor down. The mayor domo reveals that it was all the Pikes. So then we get the Galactic Star Cruiser. I'm like, how come they're not traveling on their own spaceship? Like, why are they traveling, with the public? I felt that was kind of weird after I thought about it because
the Pikes.
I was like, what? Are they just trying to shill for Disney at Disney World at this point? Come stay in the Galactic Star Cruiser.
It should have had like a sign like on the Disney buses that said like going to Hollywood Studios.
Exactly.
Now.
Oh gosh. So yeah, I mean, I hope that the Pikes aren't the big bads of this series. I don't think they are because the Hutts would not run from the Pikes. I mean, it just would not be a thing that would happen. Yeah. So I'm with everybody pretty much in thinking that it's going to be pretty big, pretty big. So
someone above.
We are over an hour. Final thoughts on the episode, Ryfen.
And
go ahead and tell people where they can find you. Also,
I thought it was okay. It was fine. The tone of this show. However I feel about this show, I mean, it's going to be a long time before I know. I mean, we've still got a lot of episodes to go. 7-episode show. Yeah. So, we're going to go from here. Some of my friends aren't loving it, but I'm telling them to stick around and hopefully they come around to it. They loved the first 2 seasons of Mando. A lot of my friends did. So again, hoping it picks back up. You can find me at Twitter at SUPASH3. You can find me at Letterboxd at GRyfen, and you can find me in the Deucecast Discord and here on every Tuesday night, usually. So
sorry, Brian, that's not right.
Look, I could have talked more about Moon Knight. There's like Crawley and Gina Landers and Samuels.
I know.
And hey,
I'm trying to do like an hour here and an hour for
a team, right?
And Frenchie. Frenchie is like one of the most important guys to Moon Knight in the comics. That's all I'm going to say.
We got to have Frenchie.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Dr. Earl, final thoughts of the episode?
I mean, it's advancing the story. I mean, I love the Black Chrysanthemum scene. I mean, that was amazing. I mean, obviously the chase seemed a little wonky on the CGI, but I mean, it is what it is. Maybe Chapek said we got to cut a little bit or cut some corners.
Chapek better say
cut from this.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, "What is this show? What is this? Just let's cut the CGI budget in half." No, I don't know. It's fine. It's I'm not as I think some of the syndicate stuff is getting very intriguing, and so I'm still in for the ride.
Awesome.
Even if it's in a slow speeder.
Well played, sir. Nick, final thoughts and where the people can find you.
Yeah, I like it. Tomorrow's the halfway point. So tomorrow, I think we kind of crest that wave. We start picking up speed. We head towards, where's this all going? So that's what I'm looking forward to. I think tomorrow, I don't know at what point we start saying, oh, tomorrow's the one that breaks the internet. I'm not saying,
right.
that this is the thing.
Yeah.
But, especially we've been conditioned with things like Game of Thrones and other shows, like a penultimate episode is where big things happen. Tomorrow's not penultimate, but tomorrow's halfway. So like there could be something big that propels us on the backside of this journey. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's going to be. 2 quick Easter eggs.
Yeah, definitely.
That I'll throw out just because these are fun, especially for a certain age. In the street, the speeder chase, the painting that they drive through. That's a great Hollywood classic TV Hollywood movies trope. Usually it's a pane of glass or somebody carrying a mirror across the street.
Right.
It was a painting. If you stop it and you look at the painting, it's the Ralph McQuarrie concept art from Return of the Jedi of Jabba's throne room. The only thing that's missing is Luke Skywalker, taken out right there in the front. Right. That's the painting that they crashed through. That was a lot of fun. And then the other one that I love so much because I'm such a diehard Star Wars Rebels fan is the fruit truck that the Major Domo crashes into and all the fruit that spills into his speeder. Those are Melu runs. And in one of the earliest episodes of Rebels, Hera sends Ezra and Sabine, I think it's Sabine, on a mission to get her favorite fruit, which is a Melu run. And it's this whole like hijinks ensue, trying to track it down. And then, as my screen name tonight connotates, Ezra and Zeb. Okay. Thank you, Roth.
Melu
later on, there's an episode where Ezra's on the radio pretending to be an Imperial somebody, and he says his name is Commander Melu Run. So that was a fun, getting a real life version of that fruit show up in an episode. So fun Easter eggs. And I'm not even a Rebels expert, Roth. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, I'm not a Rebels expert.
He's the Rebels expert.
right.
I'm just a lover, an unapologetic lover of Rebels.
There you go.
So yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited to see what else is coming. And what was the other question?
Where people can find you.
Oh yeah, that. All the social media at WillsPod. Thursday. That's not tomorrow. That's the next day. Thursday on the ATG Cast podcast feed, episode 3 of the Return of the Jedi Canon Studies with Chris Ryans from the Bro Axiom Network. Going to be a lot of fun, great conversation. So that'll drop Thursday. And then also, if you're around on Friday night this week, it's going to be 8:30 Central, streaming Star Wars. Me and Pete, Friday night, talking about tomorrow's episode, what we saw, what we think's coming up. Not necessarily a recap episode. It's kind of just what's going on in Star Wars. And of course, right now, Book of Boba Fett's a big part of it. But with the news of a release date for Bad Batch, some of that stuff, there's no telling. And we have a fun special guest. So keep your eyes peeled and check that out. Streaming Star Wars Friday night, 8:30.
Awesome. Nick.
Can I make 2 quick comments?
Of course.
Please? Yeah, Matt, first off, I was a huge defender of that spider episode. In Mando season 2. Secondly, Brian, I am currently trying to run through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. right now, so the Rebels is on the back burner. I'm in season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. currently, so.
Oh man,
Godspeed.
The good years.
That'll be a rough ride for you. No, yeah, the first 3 seasons are fine, but Ryfin, Nick, really appreciate you guys joining us for Chapter 3. Of course, we will be back here next Tuesday for Chapter 4. And then we are going to take a short break and then talk about episode, 5 of 4 or 5? 5 of 1883. And appreciate you guys so much. Cowboy up. We'll be back in just a second, guys. are back for. Is it episode 5 of 1883 that we're
It is episode 5.
We're all the way to 5.
I see, Roth, you throwing me some Abilene, Kansas shade already here. It's Texas. No,
What did we discover last week after we stopped? It was 500 miles due north of Fort Worth.
Yeah. So it could be.
I believe they are headed north, not west.
Yeah,
north first, then west.
North and then west. Yeah, that would make sense.
I think what's going to happen is they're going to meet up with the Oregon Trail in Nebraska.
That makes a lot of sense. So
and some Native Americans, some indigenous peoples at some point.
Indigenous people at that point. Yeah. Good grief, this episode. I mean, really, every episode of this show is fantastic. If you're not watching 1883,
man.
And I mean, this is a show that you don't necessarily have had to have watched Yellowstone. If you happen to have Paramount Plus, this is just a good Western. I mean, this is just a really, really good Western. So highly recommend watching it. This one had so much going on in it.
What in the world?
Really dramatic episode, obviously.
Wing for the fences.
Good gracious. It starts off where you've got gosh, I can't remember the character's name. Dang it.
Sam Elliott.
Shay.
James. Shay. Yeah. He is crying as he's watching, like, just looking over, because what I really like about this show is they're not jumping forward in time at all. It's like the river has just happened. The river incident has just happened, and they are just trying to recover from it, and they're kind of letting the settlers, like the immigrants, like rest and like mourn their dead and that type of stuff. And you see Shay just like crying over everyone. Thomas comes up behind him and he's like, "What, you're crying for them? You never cried for any of us." He was like, "I cried a lot." I mean, basically, the dude has had a rough life. That scene really got to me. I mean, I was like, "Holy cow, this is really good acting."
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, yeah. I mean, he's
some
just
of his best work.
He's bringing so much to the show at this late in his career that I'm really surprised that I shouldn't be. I mean, he's a good actor, has always been a good actor, so it's just impressive to see that continue in this show.
I could see him winning an Emmy for this thing.
I could too, and we actually can say that it was nominated for Writers Guild Awards. So 1883 has already been nominated for one of the big guild awards. So that's pretty cool. And so did Yellowstone. Finally, Yellowstone got nominated for a SAG.
And probably for their worst season.
But it's more like those.
It's how the shows work. Game of Thrones won all the awards in their last season.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'm glad I'm glad Taylor Sheridan's getting recognition as the writer, because he writes all these episodes. I'm sure he's got a team, but the way he talks and all these making of and behind the scenes it's all him.
I finally watched.
Oh, good. You liked it?
I did too.
The 1883 one? Yeah, dude.
And that kind of touches on something that you brought up about how they're not jumping in time, how they're not jumping 100 miles so far, which I like a lot. And one of the set designers compared it to Game of Thrones. And that was just talking about the designing of the set. But I think even how they're laying out the story is the same type of thing, where and Ryfin, you're so wrong. Return of the King is the best of the three. But where with Game of Thrones, you had the story moving slowly. You wouldn't really get any big jumps in time. You would travel with the characters, and it seemed like it would take as long to travel to a place. Like it would take a whole season for somebody to get like across the country. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, where it's taking an episode to go like 25 miles, it seems like.
So no light speed skipping,
right?
Like we had in.
And I like that. I like it for two reasons. Because one, it's going to give us more of the show. It's the ability to go longer and go multiple seasons.
That's a good point.
And two, we get to spend more time with the characters and kind of really flesh them out, which is obviously something that's been happening.
I feel like we're on the trail with them. It's a long
process. And I know my internet connection is super unstable right now, so I don't even know what you guys can hear. But
everything.
What I wasn't expecting is them taking it this slow. Like, I'm super glad that they're doing it because, like you said, Roth, it could mean like a lot of seasons, and I hope they do it. I mean, they need another. I mean, they need another show if they're going to have this Taylor Sheridan universe like continue. But and for us to be able to see some of these things that they showed at the beginning of the season, sort of like that flashback moment. I think that flashback or flash forward moment that they show us at the beginning of the show could be years down the road. I mean,
they could have an established life in Montana at that point.
But what I'm thinking, one of the things that I'm thinking is occurring here is about to come true about this whole Spencer thing. This other kid that shows up. I think and we can talk about it as we get into the episode, but I mean, I think what happens in this episode particularly is what's gonna this whole Spencer thing makes total sense to me now. The other kid that we see in Yellowstone when they show some flashbacks there. So they're basically determining that they need to keep on moving. They don't need to stay put, but at the same time they find out that there's these bandits following them. So, Earl, what you got about those bandits?
What do I got about them?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I liked how they. I liked how. Oh gosh, and now I'm blanking on the character who went and looked and saw
Wade.
Oh, Wade. Yeah, I like that they're making Wade a little bit more intelligent. Like, he seems to like really know the cattle.
I'm starting to like Wade a lot.
Yeah,
I do too.
You know, at first I thought, oh, well, he's just going to be kind of the doofus sidekick for the good-looking one who's going to end up with a girl. Well, I was wrong about that too. But by the way, spoilers.
Oh, should we? I mean, they know. They know.
Spoilers for the
spoilers.
1883.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, exactly.
Who's pixelated? Are we pixelated?
No, I am. My internet's janky tonight.
You're looking great.
Michael, you've cleared up. You've cleared up nice.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
You clear up good. You clean up good, kid.
Okay.
No, I mean, I thought it was interesting how they were sort of methodical about, like, you know, understanding it and saw the tracks, and they said there's 6 of them. I mean, that was pretty impressive. He got Thomas, and Thomas came over, and so they're setting up and then they go get Dutton, and they're like, we're going to need you.
Yeah, they even got the German guy. I mean, they needed like everybody because
they set the German guy sort of up as the bait, which I was
the bait.
I thought his wife, I have her name down.
I thought she was going to buy it.
I thought she was gone like that. Dang it, I can't find it now. Risa.
Yeah.
I like that they have German actors playing, you know, like international actors playing these roles.
Oh, dude, I knew that about a couple of them. I didn't know all. That's pretty cool.
Well, not all of them, but like that guy is.
At least the ones. Yeah, the ones that have dialogue at least are the ones
maybe.
That
I mean, that redheaded lady probably not. I mean, she was talking normal. The one who told gave what's her name the pants.
Well, no, she. Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying if you watch the behind the scenes now.
Oh, that's true. That's true. The behind the scenes shows that. Yeah. And if you're looking for that behind the scenes, it's on Paramount Plus, but it's actually not under extras. It's actually called something.
It's called The Road West.
The Road West. Yeah, it's really good. The behind the scenes stuff has been really good. It's better than the Entertainment Tonight interviews for the Yellowstone stuff. That was kind of boring, but that's out there as well.
There are only a few nuggets in that ET stuff. The behind the scenes one, all of it was.
I liked all of it. Yeah, I thought it was all really good. So yeah, I mean, a thing that happens first though is they find out about the guy stealing food.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and that's more hardcore.
Shay's not gonna put up with that.
No, Shay is done. In fact, like Dutton, it was funny because Shay was like trying to have a conversation with Dutton. Was like, I'm done. I'm just gonna go pistol whip this guy. Like he did not want to have a conversation with him at all.
Even like Thomas tried to step in, and Shay was like, "Well, let's just let them work this out because he's supposed to be their leader. And then finally, James is like, nope.
Yeah. He went and pistol whipped that guy, and basically, I mean, I guess they didn't know this at the time, but they pretty much were setting those people up for death. I mean, because the bandits came very quickly after that.
Yes.
I mean, and wiped all of those people out. But it's the Wild West. What you gonna do? I mean, not much you can do there. There's a lot of like mother-daughter stuff with Margaret and Elsa in this episode.
They're bathing in the river, and
that was a nice scene.
Bathing. I wasn't complaining about the bathing in the river scene, but I mean, it's more like.
But there was some good dialogue and discussion between these.
Very good dialogue and discussion. Margaret was trying to impart to Elsa, like, do not make the mistake that you're about to make. Even though everything in your body is telling you want to make this mistake, don't make this mistake.
Well,
she was trying to talk.
Said, "Go with your heart," which I'm thinking. I don't know if that's always
never a good idea.
That's never a good idea with teenagers. Like
not with a teenager. Which
that's I mean, I don't know. Since I'm 26, I'm gonna say 26 and over type of advice.
Yeah, sure. 26 and over type of advice.
No,
don't go with.
You're right.
Never go with your heart, Roth. Never. No.
Roth, we have some advice for you, Sam.
Never go with your heart.
And what's the guy, the blonde-haired guy's name? It's
well, it's Ennis.
No,
are you talking about Ennis?
The live one.
Are you talking about the hot one or the smart one?
The guy who sort of like came up. He's sitting there and he's like, "Well, we're about to take off," and she's like, "You need to turn around." And
that
was Ennis. She's
that
like,
was Ennis.
"Can you go away now?"
Yeah, that's the one she was in love with.
I think Ennis was the name of. I thought Ennis was the guy with the longer beard who's.
No, so the one that I know his name down pat now because I thought of a joke while that scene was happening. Yeah, I don't know if I should say it, but there's something that rhymes with Enos.
If you don't know that you should say it, Roth, that means you shouldn't say it.
There's something that rhymes with Enos.
I understand.
So I'm not going to say it.
I understand what you're saying, but
okay, so he is in. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's the guy's name.
Wade. The other guy's Wade. You're right.
I also learned that in the behind the scenes thing, it's Ennis. Not
it's Ennis.
It is.
No, it's Ennis. Yeah.
Ennis. Okay. Whatever. It's the kid that's in love with Elsa. Who we come to find out is not as experienced as Elsa thought he was. And so I think that probably made her fall for him even more. In a way. And of course they consummate that relationship to the dismay of Margaret
and the whole camp.
Well, they're like right in the middle of camp.
Yep, and they all can hear it, including her mom and her
the
dad.
whole camp and the dad. Oh man, dude, James was not happy. He was not a happy camper.
When he came riding up. Oh,
I thought he was going to kill him. I mean, I thought
I thought that off that horse. I thought,
I thought that they were going to go there, but I'm glad that they didn't because James is one of those characters that you don't want to go see too dark because he's supposed to be your, protagonist. You don't want to see him like shoot somebody in the back or do anything. And the guy's Ennis is just a kid. I mean, he doesn't know what he's doing.
And not quite the way I would ask for somebody's hand in marriage, but I guess it worked.
There's a bit of a shotgun.
Bit of a shotgun. Well, I mean,
I even thought, oh man, this is going to be kind of neat. They're going to have her married to this guy, but now I should have known better that Taylor Sheridan is not going to.
No, Taylor Sheridan's not going to do that. I mean, and my ongoing theory is that Elsa's now pregnant with Spencer. I thought maybe we were going to get to see this down the road. I think Elsa is now pregnant with Spencer and is going to have to raise a child during this trip. I don't know how long the trip takes. It's not 9 months, probably. It can't be that long.
It's got to be somewhere right around because so
they've never said that.
Here's my frame of reference is when you're playing the Oregon Trail game, you have to decide on when you're going to leave because at some point you're going to run into winter. You just have to decide on where.
So probably 3-4 months.
No, see, if it was 3 or 4 months, you could avoid winter for the most part. You could leave like right at the end of winter, so you're doing the easy traveling.
Yeah.
And so I think it's probably somewhere between like 6 and 7 months would be my guess.
Well, I mean, she's going to be very pregnant during part of this journey, which we may not even get to see this season, as slow as they're going with, each episode or whatever. So,
I was wrong. 4 to 5, Google says.
4 to 5. So, I mean,
4 to 5 months to do the trip.
So, yeah. So we won't get to see that part. But like I said, that future forward that they show us at the beginning of this season, I think that's Taylor Sheridan doing a very classic, like, movie trope.
Raising Spencer.
I think that they're raising Spencer. Yeah, I think I think James and Margaret are raising Spencer as their son, because as we see at the beginning of the series, Elsa dies at some point. Or, I mean, she takes an arrow. It was sort of in the side. I'm no doctor, but I don't know. You're a doctor, Earl.
Yeah, I saw that shot.
It's like off to the side. Maybe it's okay. I don't know.
There's not very many people around.
No.
Like for her to come rescue her. Unless I guess there could be somebody.
Oh, no, I think she's going to fall for I think we're going to she's going to ride off with an Indian guy.
So you think that...
Okay. Well, my theory is she's going to have a miscarriage and lose the baby.
Oh, okay.
Now I like your idea too, though. That's an intriguing thought. But so I guess we're just going to have to see which, because Taylor Sheridan likes high tragedy.
Yes, he does.
Not only does she lose the guy,
Shakespearean-esque.
Because if you saw the clips for the next week and 2 weeks or whatever, like she's totally despondent and like,
oh yeah.
And I think there's gonna be some Native American guy on that group. Anyway, we'll see, because they want to be very progressive with her and to make her seem but I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't feel that necessarily. I mean, I'm going with my theory just because it's my theory, but I mean, I just think it makes more sense. I think there's more gravity to the situation now that Ennis is dead, that Spencer, that he got her pregnant.
She's learned that life is going to be hard.
The narration.
She now sees life through her mother's eyes.
She acted great. I mean, she.
Oh no! She's fantastic.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
I mean,
the other scene that really got me in this episode is that Tim McGraw scene talking to her about being his daughter. Dude, I never would have thought Tim McGraw had that in him. I mean, like that scene was really good. I mean, this show's bringing something out of him that. I mean, and I know he's been in stuff before, and he's okay in Friday Night Lights, but
he's growing.
But he's been doing this a while. I mean, I'm not saying that he's an unprepared and like rookie actor, but I don't know. That particular scene was really heavy, and he did really good in that scene.
He did so well that I thought that he was the one to sing "I Loved Her First," that song about. Pretty much what he was saying. I was like, did he sing that? And I looked it up. I was like, no, it was Heartland.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know what song I'm talking about?
I don't think I do. I'm not a country music guy, really. I know some country music.
Very popular father-daughter dance at wedding song.
I loved her.
Look at the two of you dancing that way, lost in the moment in each other's face, so much in love. You're alone, like there's nobody else in the world. Let me find the chorus. I knew the first time I saw you with her, and it was only a matter of time. I loved her first. I held her first.
Oh,
well, I mean, that's still to me the one issue with the series, but it wasn't as bad, I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I've gotten used to it.
It's made me cope. It's made me cope with the fact that she's going to die. I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it now. I'm not saying that I want her to die, but I'm like, I'm not going to be distraught.
Yeah, because she's not around. Like, she's not around in those Yellowstone. Those flashbacks that they showed us. There's the two boys and Margaret and James getting all shot up in those flashback scenes from Yellowstone.
She's in
no Elsa to be seen anywhere.
Now Okay, this is again because I watched that behind the scenes thing. I wonder if that is timeline wise, like on how they shot stuff, because I think Taylor Sheridan first had the idea of bring flashbacks into Yellowstone,
right,
of this, and then they found Isabel May after they shot that stuff.
I think so. I think
that's an interesting thought.
I don't think that she was. I really think that he had Tim McGraw and Faith Hill in mind for these Duttons, and he shot that stuff for Yellowstone, and then he came up with this whole 1883 concept because money on the table, you don't want to leave it there, and so he's like, I need to make more money, and so here's another show about the Duttons. I mean,
now I will say that last kind of scene of her shooting the guy, was very Beth Dutton.
Oh,
I mean, if Rip dies, that's
are you talking about Margaret? Are you?
No,
you're talking about Elsa.
Elsa.
Oh, when she pulled the gun.
I didn't love that aspect. I thought that was a little too modern.
No, dude, she was distraught AF,
and she had that gun in her belt. Okay,
and she was wanting blood. I mean, she didn't know. She had never been in that type of situation. Heartbroken because the person that she loved is dead. This is a first for her. First for her. So she went, I mean, she reacted in a very raw way. And that was just and man, they just let her do it too. They didn't even James didn't even try and stop her. He was just like, I'm gonna let this happen.
I'm gonna see what's gonna happen here.
And that was
I believe we got
Frontier Justice
an Easter egg this week.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I think I know what you're talking about.
We got what?
Where Tim and Faith, what am I doing? James and Margaret were talking about needing to have the talk with Elsa.
Right.
And then I think James then was like, you know how it works. Or Margaret said, you know how it works. And that's the same thing Casey and Monica had the same discussion.
Right.
About Tate.
With Tate.
Mm-hmm.
No.
You've seen enough births and
yeah. Oh, yeah. He did say that you've seen enough birth. Yeah, she said that to Elsa. Margaret said that to Elsa. You've seen it on the farm enough. You know how it works.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. That was a good Easter egg. They come up with a pretty good plan to handle these bandits. We mentioned that they put what's the German guy's name?
Joseph.
They put Joseph and his wife in a situation where, and even though Joseph being willing to put his wife in that situation was a bit interesting to me. That didn't seem like something that his character up to this point would do. But I mean, he did what he had to do, and she certainly is probably traumatized from it. But,
yeah, it's like, we got to make it look realistic, honey. Like we're just left out here.
That the dude, when she shot him and he's like, you be, he's like, I mean, I was just like, man, this is vicious. And then Joseph pulls out the shotgun, takes him out. So I like the realism of this show in the sense that the horse chasing, everybody's having a hard time shooting everyone.
It's just
I really like
it's really hard.
That realism. I mean, because in Westerns, traditionally, you don't see that type of thing. Everybody can shoot everyone just
John
fine.
Wayne putting the reins in his
mouth, your hand,
with his rifle and his pistol.
Yeah, and he's just like, and everyone's falling. Like he hits everyone first shot. This is very much not like that. So much to the point, and that was another cool scene between James and Margaret. She's like, what do I do if they come my way? Fight like a panther. And man, she did. She is one tough woman. I mean, she is. Faith Hill is impressing me in this show. I was not expecting absolutely anything from her in this show, and I wasn't. I just have never seen her. I've never seen her in anything other than her videos. I mean, her music videos. I haven't seen her in any act in anything, so I had no idea what to expect from her, and she's really, really good. Breaking news. FSU beats Duke in overtime.
Wow.
Whoa.
I just tagged Garrison in a tweet during this.
Wow.
I guess
That's
FSU
huge.
basketball put up just a ridiculous poster in their gymnasium. It says number 4 ranked final ranking in 2022 because of the canceled season.
Oh.
Because that's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
But
that's a big win.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big win.
I wonder if Coach K was coaching.
Oh, I don't know.
Because he was out a couple games ago.
Oh, was he? I'm not sure. Yeah, Duke is not what they used to be. Sorry, a little basketball talk here this evening. But yeah, I mean the you got him fired up. You got him really fired up.
Oh, that's really
Coach K was coaching.
I will say the game Coach K missed, Shire, they won. So I think Duke is better without Coach K.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Coach K's been around a while. It might be time for him to hang it up. So it did take the Bandits going to the wagons, the circled wagons, before they really caught him. So they chased him all the way, and we don't know distance, but I mean the way it felt, it was a pretty long chase. And so Margaret
like
had to
4-month thing. Oh wait, no, that's Oregon Trail. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Margaret had to get those Germans like ready to defend themselves.
She's like, get your guns ready.
Did a good job of circling the wagons, which the Buffalo Bills also did on Saturday night. But we won't talk football as well.
Dude, I do not want to talk about football at all.
Oh, I bet you don't.
My Cowboys, good grief. Jeez, talk about crapping the bed. That was just horrible. Anyways, so yeah, I thought it was interesting, and I like that she was like, keep shooting, don't stop, be consistent in your shooting, basically, like just keep on taking them out.
Something will hit something.
Something will hit something, and they did eventually. Well, they got most of them,
except for like 2 guys, and then I think Tim McGraw took out one of the last 2 guys, and then Enos took out the
Enos,
man,
dude,
also got it right here,
dude. I liked that. I liked him too. I liked that character.
I know.
I was very surprised.
Yeah,
I was too. I was.
That was the
very
Game of Thrones moment where I was like,
it was a Game of Thrones moment. I was very surprised, and I was like, oh, she's pregnant. That's Spencer. And my like theories were coming. I'm still going with it. I think it's going to happen.
I'm with you.
You know, it's a little on the nose for her to get pregnant her first time making love, but I mean, whatever. It's a TV series. So and man, Isabel May in that scene was great. She really
little snotty.
Little snotty. They're not afraid to show the snot in this series. There's a lot of like Taylor Sheridan in all his shows he likes a lot of snot. He wants a lot of snot, a lot of like fluid on the face, just like
dude. And she was just bawling by the end there. I thought
by the end of it, she was just totally like broken down.
Give her Emmy as well.
Yeah,
maybe I don't know.
Non-narration award.
Yeah. Non-narration, good grief. Not for the spoken
narration.
Yeah, not non-voice acting award.
No spoken word Emmy for her.
Just like a Tennessee Southern lady.
She does not. She said, in all honesty, she sounds more like Savannah, Georgia Southern debutante to me.
She does.
Sounds nothing like Tennessee. I mean, you know,
she should be imitating like Faith and
she shouldn't be doing this. It's a little too thick, but it only comes out heavy really in the narration. It's not like real bad during the series itself, but I don't know. Oh yeah, with the snot, Blair Witch fan. That's a good point, Matt. I don't even know if Matt's watching 1883. Matt's like, I don't even know what these guys are talking about.
Matt, do it.
It's on Paramount Plus, which basically they just need to change the name of it to the Star Trek channel. With this, they announced like 15 Star Trek shows today. It's like ridiculous, ridiculous amount of Star Trek content. But that's the only way they can keep subscribers. So I don't blame them. I mean, you know. Oh, and
I will say this for Paramount Plus. It looks very good. It
does.
Of the best picture quality.
100% agree. 100%
agree. Right up there with. I think it's better than HBO Max.
Yeah. I mean, the one that I always get the best picture out of is
Apple.
when I rent something on Apple TV Plus.
Yep.
And I don't even have an Apple TV.
Right.
And I'm just using Sony, using their Apple TV app through a Roku, and their picture. I don't know what they do, but their picture.
Ever since you said that on the Deucecast that one time, I've been doing the same thing for anything that I rent and throw my Fire Stick on like my Insignia TV.
Mm-hmm.
It looks.
I don't know what it is. I mean,
wait, what streaming service are you talking about?
Apple TV's streaming service, like they're
the best.
Like if you're going to rent a movie or something, if you really want to watch something and pay to rent something, that is totally and their series. I mean, all their stuff is really looks good. I mean, I don't know why it looks so much better, but it's noticeably better than anything else. But HBO Max is pretty good, but Paramount Plus, they're good too. I mean, better than CBS All Access when they were back in that era was not good at all.
No,
but they've stepped it up enough that hopefully they'll keep it going. I think eventually all these streaming services are going to have to consolidate somehow. I don't know how, but there's just too many.
Throw Paramount, Apple, and Peacock all in one.
Yeah, I mean,
and use Apple's.
Use Apple's, that'll work. That's just so. The problem is that so many that would take so much consolidation from studios, and they're not. There's too much money on the table for them to all do it. But I think from at least a content standpoint, Paramount Plus's content's not half bad. I mean, with all this Taylor Sheridan stuff, and that's where this new show with Stallone's going to be on Paramount Plus. So, new Taylor Sheridan show.
If I was at a point in my life where I'd be going back and watching movies, they have very good.
They do. Their catalog's good.
From I Love Lucy to.
Sorry. I got a point that. Come on, man.
Yes, Garrison. Yeah,
come on.
I have never even downloaded the Criterion channel.
I had it for like 30 days because Garrison assigned some movie that was on there. It was a Korean film, of course. I think it was during it was Mike-tober.
I don't know why I don't have it. What am I doing?
Yeah, what are you doing with your life, Dr. Earl?
See, a lot of Criterion stuff is on HBO Max. So
some of it, you're right. I mean, for whatever reason, they have a lot of their stuff on.
No, you're totally right. Like all the things I want to see so far have been on HBO Max. So I just go to the TCM part and find.
Criterion has a lot of like super obscure stuff. Oh, Ingmar Bergman. Interesting. I watched a movie about an island that Ingmar Bergman lived on, called Bergman Island. Yeah.
Really?
An interesting movie. Yeah, that was it. Cure 97. Yeah, that was it. All right. So what are we missing on this? What did we miss on this?
What did we miss? I think we covered everything.
We covered a lot of it, but
I do think we've covered most of it. I mean, we get another conversation post sex with Margaret and Elsa.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
She's a little disappointed with her.
She's disappointed. Yeah.
She's like, at least go outside the camp.
Doing like good mom does and saying, "You're the one taking care of this thing."
Yeah.
Hopefully he does too. And well, he can't, but he was going to.
No, he was ready. He was.
Ready. Oh yeah, he was ready. He was like, yeah.
He may have been a little bit blindsided when she said, "Will you take care of a baby with me?" And he says yes, and then she rides off, and he's like, "I'm gonna go tell Daddy we're getting married." I'm like, maybe a little bit, not with the question you asked him.
Oh, and he told Dutton, he goes, "I ain't asking." And I thought, dude.
Yeah, that was brave of him.
I was like, Dutton, but I think Dutton respected that. But
yeah, I think so too. I like that even though she has taken that step in her life, she still has dumb like teenage moments like that. I'm gonna marry. Like, I'm glad that now probably won't anymore. Now that he's dead, she's killed a man. I think probably she's broken inside, and so that's going to be the rest of this series is going to be really interesting to see. And I think Earl, you mentioned it earlier. They are taking a week off. So although we will be here for Book of Boba Fett, unfortunately there is no 1883 content. Sorry, Roth. I hate to do it to you, man.
I'll be in the comments.
Boba Fett. Yeah. So we'll have it. That was pretty good. That rivals Earl's abilities at voices.
That's good, man.
that was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, we'll be back for Book of Boba Fett, but 1883, for whatever reason, I heard a theory that they had to take more time to add in a cameo character, but
like they're working in Andrew Garfield.
Here's my guess.
Yeah, right.
My guess is that the Bills and
Chiefs, this is the second time they've done this, like taking a week off.
Yes, my guess is that the Bills and Chiefs they play on CBS Sunday night.
Oh,
well, even though it's available all day on Sunday.
Yeah,
I have a feeling they think they can get more out of it if they push it back a week.
Or is it the mayor of Lord?
No, I think that's
done. That's done. That's done, and that was a heck of a finale. But that's done. So yeah, no, your point is totally valid. Yeah, it'll be on Paramount Plus streaming, and most people, even though 1883 is probably available first thing in the morning, most people watch TV at night. I mean, it's just a thing that.
And I mean, I treat it like Yellowstone, where I do like 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, it's better watching a show like this.
I've been watching it in the afternoon.
No, that's not normal, Doctor.
I get to watch this in the afternoon.
You're just wrong, Dr. Earl.
Well, anyways, so they're not going to have an episode, but that makes a lot of sense because of the football. So that makes total sense. I had heard that they were doing something with Rita Wilson's character, like they had to film some extra scenes, and so it made them have to push it back a little bit. But I can't imagine that this show's not completely done, and we're just
Yeah.
This
isn't a 25 episode network TV thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Releasing at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So January 30th is when the next episode of 1883. So we'll have a week off.
Thank goodness.
Earl, final thoughts on this episode of 1883.
It was intense. It was emotional. It had some incredible performances by all the main actors. McCall,
really, everybody.
Faith Hill, and then of course Isabel May. Sometimes I want her to be less like Beth Dutton-esque in her development, but I see that this is going to take her in a different. This is going to be interesting to see where it takes her. So I think the journey is going to be good for Elsa.
And I do want to address this. I've got plans to get us to March 30th. We're going to be doing something. We're not going to take a break. I've got plans. So don't you worry, Garrison.
I was worried, and I'm game for any plans that you may have.
We're going to have some plans. We're going to talk about a movie that comes out. We're going to do a little like we did with Did we do an episode on Spider-Man or something?
Ghostbusters.
So yeah, there's a certain movie that comes out at the beginning of March that we're going to talk about. So we'll make it happen. We're going to stretch it out. Batman.
Oh, the Batman.
Yes. The Batman.
That's right.
The Batman.
Batman comes out at the beginning of March.
So yeah, we're gonna keep it going because I don't want to take a break again. We might take like a 1 week break before Moon Knight starts. Maybe we'll see. But Roth, final thoughts and where the people can find you and whatever plugs you want to plug.
Yeah, I think this episode really kind of stepped things up. Added a little bit more emotional weight and some stakes that I knew that would show up at some point. I guess we are 5 episodes into this thing, so
yeah.
But it felt it was very unexpected, which was I was very welcome to. And then I'm kind of bummed it's taking next week off, but
yeah, me too.
Football.
But yeah, football makes sense. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
Sunday's going to be a big day for me. All my family's from Kansas, so most of them are Chiefs fans.
Are they from Abilene, Kansas?
Yes. No, not quite. Like an hour and a half west of Abilene.
Okay.
But so yeah, Sunday's going to be a big day for me. I don't need Yellowstone thrown into the mix as well.
I know it's too much.
I got to root on my Bills.
You've got to emotionally be available for the Bills, and not Elsa.
So wait, now you're from you're pulling for the Bills.
Yes.
Okay.
Because their quarterback went to the University of Wyoming.
There you go. There's the connection.
Partied with him many a times, actually.
There's the connection.
Mm-hmm. Saw many Marvel movies and Star Wars movies in the same theater as him.
But like you weren't buds. You just knew each other.
He wouldn't know me from Adam, but he would know people. He knows people that I know.
There you go.
Wow.
So
Wyoming's a small place.
It is.
I mean, everybody knows everybody in Wyoming.
He's probably watching right now, really.
Except for the bodies that are dumped there.
Well, that's on the other side of the state. So
that's far away.
That's up towards Montana.
Garrison?
Oh man, Garrison.
Wow, he's throwing.
I don't like this. Look, I don't like the Chiefs.
Look, one has Jackson Mahomes attached to that quarterback. The other has me and other teams starting quarterback. The Washington football team starting quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick was in the stands in Buffalo with his shirt off, cheering the Bills on. In 5-degree weather.
Such a Fitzmagic move, by the way. Like shirt off. He's a lot like Gardner Minshew, which I think that Philadelphia's coach should be fired for not letting Minshew come in and at least try to bring the team. Like freaking Jalen Hurts had nothing that game to not even give Minshew. Come on, Minshew magic. You got to give that boy a chance. Horrible decision making. Don't get it.
And you can find me online on Twitter and Instagram at Roth from Wyoming. You can listen to my podcast available on pretty much every streaming service. The Good Day for a Movie podcast. This last episode we stayed in the Western genre and we reviewed Once Upon a Time in the West. I brought the old harmonica out, which is still
I know you still haven't. There it is. There it is.
I don't know how to play the harmonica, but
you just have one.
Yeah, it's from like 5th grade.
That's awesome.
So
I thought everybody played the harmonica out in the West.
No, they play the mouth harp.
I was play that day.
The mouth harp. It's that bang, dang, 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 the mouth harp.
I don't know what our episode's going to be Monday yet. We haven't recorded.
Oh,
so I don't know.
You haven't decided.
Wow.
I can't give a teaser for it.
It's a wild card.
We're recording it on Friday, but the week after that, so 2 Mondays from now, Aussie Nate will be on the podcast, and who knows what we're going to be watching? Maybe. I don't.
That's right.
Never-ending Story, an Australian movie.
He'll do an Australian movie. He won't do Never-ending Story. God,
I think that's his favorite movie of all time.
Dude, I don't get that. That's
I don't
know if he's ever going to watch this, but
maybe it'll be like Yahoo Serious or something.
See, that is like the most stereotypical. Well, that and Crocodile Dundee.
Well,
that'd be like, that's too on the nose.
I'm hoping for Kangaroo Jack.
Oh, that's not even Australian. That's horrible. That is a horrible. I bet every Australian. That's like every Australian hates Foster's and that movie.
It's Australian for beer,
dude. And Outback. They've got to hate Outback.
For beer.
That all those Outback commercials have to be like the worst thing to ever see for an actual Australian. I can't imagine. Well, awesome, Roth. Hey, and I got to say that episode was fun. The Once Upon a Time in Mexico episode. So I do have one question. Like, did you intentionally slow down the music when you were playing it?
Which music?
Like it all sounded really slowed down. Like
I don't think so.
The soundtrack, and I was like, I wonder if they're just doing that like kind of as a joke, like slowed down a little bit.
No,
but maybe that's like. Is that what the
soundtrack
sounds like though? Maybe it's just slow.
Maybe I'll have to take a look at it because I could have made a mistake because I mentioned in the past I think that I have discovered how to do 2 times speed editing.
Oh,
so maybe I
don't think you have
something up there.
I'm just kidding.
It went 2 times slower.
It went 2 times slower. Yeah.
There's a possibility.
I don't know who else listened. Somebody else in here said they listened to the episode. Was it Matt?
Yeah.
Matt, Matt, was I crazy? Was it sounding a little slow? I don't know. I was listening to it at normal speed. Maybe the key was I should have listened to it at 2 times speed.
Well, and see, that's the other problem. I've re-listened to the episode on Apple Podcast, and I listen at 2 times speed, so everything sounds fast.
I can't do that. I cannot listen to podcasts at 2 times. I don't know.
Everything at 2 times.
I don't know how you kids can do that. My brain does not work that fast. I can't. It won't work. All right. Anyways, sorry. I don't know why I brought that up.
I'm glad you did, because now I definitely.
Maybe I'm just crazy though. Oh well, it was an awesome episode.
Well, thank you.
Sorry.
We even made a bet at the end, which
I know. I'm interested in seeing the outcome of that bet. Oh, dude. I've tried. Look, Earl likes that show too. That one of the dudes was talking about Clash on Titan or whatever.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan. Yeah, I couldn't get into it.
Oh man,
I'm not.
The theme song at the beginning. Just get in.
So we made a bet, Dr. Earl, where if an AFC team wins, I assign him a full first season of a show that he has to watch, and if the NFC wins the Super Bowl, I have to watch Attack on Titan. So I assigned him Smallville because he hates Superman.
How can you hate Superman and be an American?
I have no idea. He thinks he's just overpowered and is just dumb. I'm like, well, you don't get the character. You don't get the character.
Yeah, come
on. No, I think Smallville would be it would show him the true nature of the character.
Right. What I'm afraid of is it's so early 2001 that first season that I don't know if he'll
maybe
appreciate it like watching the whole series. You get the appreciation for the character, but I'm hoping.
Man, Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
I tried Attack on Titan. I couldn't. AFC is the right bet according to. Well, but he wants the Chiefs to win, I'm sure. Which is horrible. But
well, wait, but you're from Kansas and you don't want the Chiefs to win. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not from Kansas. My family lives in Kansas.
There you go. It's different.
Right.
So like 3/4 of them
pull for the Bulls.
Yeah, well,
Bills.
Yes, their quarterback went to Wyoming. I have to.
Oh yeah, you said that.
Yeah. And so like I used to be a Broncos fan. I stopped being a Broncos fan
once together or something.
Yeah, and then once Josh Allen, like it was like his sophomore or junior year, and I was like, all right, I think he's going to get drafted. At this point I was like 5th, 6th round he'll get drafted. I'll be a fan of wherever he goes, and it ended up being the Bills in the first round.
The Bills.
So
I like the Bills. The Bills are classic NFL football. I'm okay with the
Bills. Play in the snow.
Marv Levy.
Smash mouth football.
I'm all for it. They lost 5 out of 6 Super. They lost a lot of Super. They didn't win.
They lost 4 in a row.
That's right. Good.
I wasn't a fan during that time. So like,
now
people are like, your team lost 4 in a row. I'm like, not my team. My team was the Josh Allen Bills.
There you go. All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up then. And like I said, we'll be back next week, of course, for Book of Boba Fett. But unfortunately, 1883 is taking a little bit of a break, which is fine. Just a 1-week break, and then we will be back. Thank you guys for watching. The chat was lit on fire this episode. It was really fun interacting with everybody in the chat. If you could do us a favor, share the episode. We'd love to get a little bit more subscribers, but if we don't, I really don't care. I'm not trying to monetize this thing. I just do this for the love of the game. That's why I do this. So Dr. Earl, you're hanging out on the Discord every once in a while. You can't be found anyplace else.
Pretentious pearls.
2 big reviews.
Yeah, boom. 2 big reviews in the pretentious corner of the Deucecast Discord. So if you are listening to this and you are for some reason not on the Deucecast Discord, please DM the Deucecast on Twitter, and I will set you up with Deucecast Discord. Other than that, Roth, thanks again, man. And we will see you folks next week.